footage of Bieber, Odell Beckham, and Trey Songz.
Yes.
Like, and Trey's like literally sitting there playing Lookout.
Playing Lookout as Justin Bieber goes down on Odell.
And young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Meek Mills. Bashir Gray.
Y'all, Jaguar Wright just confirmed all our worst fears about Justin Bieber. In a recent interview with Storm Monroe, Jaguar spilled all the tea about how Diddy didn't stop at using Justin for his own pleasure. He allegedly also passed him off to his friends and allowed them to have their way with the poor young Justin. Justin Bieber has also been trending these last few weeks after the raid on Diddy's homes, and many disturbing videos of him have been circulating on the internet. It has led to new conversations surrounding Diddy's weird relationship with Justin. What's worse is that, according to Jaguar, Diddy has done the same thing to many other up-and-coming male artists in the industry, including Meek Mill. Now, Meek Mill went into a frenzy on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, trying to prove he wasn't Diddy's boy toy, but it seems like the rumors were true after all. So, did Diddy really pass Justin around in the industry? And just how many other young men did he do the same thing to?
Hey, young brother, everything's good? That's selling out arenas and everything? It's starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
So, Justin Bieber started trending sometime last year after Cassie's lawsuit dropped because the lawsuit opened the floodgates for many shady things about Diddy to begin coming to light. At the time, it kind of seemed like people were exaggerating just how messed up things must have been for Justin when he was around Diddy. But with everything that's come out now, girl, you gotta admit that there must have been something very creepy going on there. And Jaguar Wright had a lot to say about it in her recent interview with Storm Monroe. In the interview, Jaguar made reference to that disturbing footage of Justin Bieber hanging out with Odell Beckham and Trey Songz, where it looks like Justin is going down on Odell. Now, some fans have tried to play this off as Justin doing some of that Coca-Cola, which, you know, is terrible in itself because these are grown men encouraging a young brother into a drug-fueled lifestyle. But according to Jaguar, that wasn't no Coca-Cola at all. It was Justin doing to Odell exactly what we thought he was doing all along. And you just have to look at Justin's wet mouth at the end of the video to confirm it. And it looks like Justin may not have been doing it willingly because, according to Jaguar, Trey Songz was there as a lookout so nobody would catch on to what Odell was doing to Justin, and probably to avoid paparazzi getting a recording of the act.
And then I think about that really disturbing footage of Bieber, Odell Beckham, and Trey Songz.
Yes.
Like, and Trey's like literally sitting there playing Lookout.
Playing Lookout as Justin Bieber goes down on Odell.
The boy came up with his mouth wet.
Mouth wet.
What?
Dribbling. Now, what they're gonna try to say is, no, Justin Bieber was just doing a line of coke. No, he didn't mess with his nose when he came
was
up.
doing a line of coke with his mouth.
He wiped his mouth. When you do
His mouth was wet.
you do this when you finish your line.
His
You wipe your mouth when you
wet. The post-nasal drip. That was seminal fluid,
It was Odell there.
It's just a sick situation. Jaguar then went on to talk about how Justin must have started going down this path from the moment he spent those 48 hours with Diddy. Now, that footage of Diddy promising to give Justin Bieber a Lamborghini and a house has caused a lot of controversy because it was taken during their supposed 48-hour staycation. But with everything that's come out about Diddy since then, girl, I can't even watch that video without shuddering at the thought of what Justin must have gone through in the name of Diddy's mentorship. And did y'all know Diddy actually gave Justin that Lamborghini? Yup, he did. Not 2 minutes after he got his driver's license, Justin was spotted cruising around town with a Lambo resembling the one Diddy promised him in that footage. So, if Diddy didn't give it to him, well, that's one mighty coincidence. But what y'all need to ask yourselves is, why would Diddy give a random kid a car like that unprovoked? Well, a lot of people speculated that Diddy was just doing what any good sugar daddy would do, giving his boy expensive toys in exchange for getting that sugar. Now, we've seen all the horrible things Diddy allegedly did to Cassie from her lawsuit. We've also seen all the things Lil Rod claimed he did. So if word on the street is anything to go by, then it must have been 10 times worse for Justin because he was so young when it all started. I mean, just take a look at how bright and innocent Justin looked in that video. Now, put that side by side with how Justin looked less than a decade later. Yeah, they messed him up real good. But what's crazy is how people are only just clocking this tea now when the signs were there all along. I mean, look at how scared Justin was while talking to Diddy Diddy in this footage. My guy is literally fumbling his words because Diddy put him on the spot. Now, allegedly, the backstory of that footage is that Justin's team had deliberately kept him away from Diddy for a while because they believed Diddy was doing too much and causing Justin's mental and physical health to derail. That explains why things were so awkward between them when Diddy finally hunted him down, ready to pick up their shenanigans where they left off. Then there's this footage of Diddy appearing to pat Justin down to see if Justin was wearing any wires, and I don't know what Diddy whispered in his ear, but Justin ended the meeting with "love you." Another clue people missed is how Justin started getting into alcohol and substances after he started associating with Diddy. During Diddy's 2014 Cyrock party, Justin Bieber was spotted holding a bottle that looked like Aqua Hydrate, which is supposed to contain a clear liquid, but if you look closely at Justin's hand, the bottle he's holding contains a suspicious yellow liquid that could have been alcohol or really anything else. Years later, Justin talked about how that moment of his life was tough because he was hurting, unhappy, confused, angry, misled, misunderstood, and angry at God. So that tells you he was really going through it, even though it looked like he was having the time of his life at the peak of his career. Of course, y'all know Diddy was not the only cause of Justin Bieber's problems. He entered the industry very young and didn't have much guidance. So despite being young, he has been manipulated and objectified in every way you can think of. Mind you, it was adults doing this. From his fellow artists to interviewers and hosts, everyone wanted to get a chunk of Sweet JB, whether he was willing to give it up or not. Take Ellen DeGeneres, for example. She literally displayed this incredibly exposing paparazzi shot of Justin on her show and then asked him some weird questions about it.
Bungalow.
Yeah.
And you, because usually we're all pretty good at spotting paparazzi.
Yeah.
They hide in boats and pretend to be fishermen, and we're like, you're paparazzi. I mean, we're pretty good at it. How did you not see that there was paparazzi there?
Well, I just didn't see them. I think I wasn't really looking out for them either, so.
Was there a boat, when you think back on it now, can you see where they may have been? Were they in a boat?
Yeah, they're definitely in a boat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how quickly after that was shot did you realize that happened? Did that go on wire right away?
Yeah, it was pretty much like a couple days. It was like a couple days later, Scooter hit me. He was like, yo, I hate to tell you this, but.
In 2011, when Justin was 16, James Corden interviewed him for the 2011 Brit Awards, and he's just being a total weirdo around him.
Can I say this? Lean into me again. You smell amazing. How old are you?
Thank you.
How old are you?
I'm 16. I'll be 17 in like 2 weeks.
I don't ever remember smelling that good at 16. Like that was bad.
Yeah.
Wow, look at your eyes. What music are you listening to at the moment, Justin?
Barely a year later, Justin was at the 2012 AMAs with Jenny McCarthy, and just look at what she was doing. Mind you, Justin was barely 18 here, and Jenny was 40 years old, and he basically had to pry her off himself. He was so uncomfortable that when he started to give his acceptance speech, he first said, "Wow, I feel so violated right now."
I feel violated right now. Wow.
In another clip, an interviewer was asking 15-year-old Justin about the talk, and he even had to call them out on it because why are you asking a 15-year-old stranger that type of question?
Okay. So why don't you give me? I feel uncomfortable right now. Oh. Why do you want to know from a 15-year-old boy? That's pretty weird.
And here's Katy Perry just straight up feeling Justin up.
Who apparently wanted to know what a Bieber butt felt like.
Child, Justin Bieber has definitely been through a lot in the industry, and the fact that he even had the strength to pull through the dark times is nothing short of a miracle. It's crazy that while all this was happening, the people who should have been there to protect to him, aka Usher and Diddy, were doing the exact opposite. Imagine that. Okay, for context, Usher strolled into Justin's life almost as soon as Justin arrived in Atlanta with Scooter Braun. He was just 13 at the time. According to Justin's mother, Patty Mallett, she prayed really hard for Justin to encounter good people in the industry who would treat her son right. When Usher and Scooter Braun came around, she thought they would be the answers to her prayer, but she couldn't have known at the time that they would be the opposite. Usher took Justin under his wing as a mentor, even appointing his friend Ryan Good to act as Justin's swagger coach and road manager. According to Patty, that's when she started losing control of her son. Justin was just a young boy coming from a humble background, and all of a sudden, he was one one of the most famous people in the world, and he had made more money than anyone in his family had ever touched. Patty said Justin needed someone to ground him amid all that, but unfortunately she couldn't do it because she didn't have access to him when he went on tours. As much as we like to blame the parents of some child stars for exposing their children to Hollyweird sometimes, they're actually no match for the vultures and the wolves in the industry. Fast forward a few years, and Usher had already introduced Justin to Diddy, and that would be the beginning of Justin's decline into the deep dark. If word on the street is anything to go by, then Diddy didn't waste any time in making Justin his boy toy under the guise of mentorship, just like he did with Usher. We all heard Diddy say he got legal guardianship of Usher when he was producing his first album. And what did he do in his duty as a so-called legal guardian? Well, he exposed Usher to the adult lifestyle. Usher talked about his experience living with Diddy for the Puffy Flavor camp.
I moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand?
According to Gene Deal, Usher's relationship was much worse than we can ever know. He even suggested that Usher might have gone through the same things Cassie went through with Diddy, and that it got so bad once that Usher landed in the hospital. Gene Deal also talked about how Diddy had an S-cult that he recruited Usher and Justin to. Girl, the things he described were so disturbing. Just check this out.
Puff and Usher did have a situation, and that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now, I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that groomed you, you gonna give him a pass? Bruh, you know I know. Let me reframe you on something. Remember Usher? We was at the Swiss Hotel. Puff had Kim in the room. Had one of Keith Sweat's baby mothers in the big room outside the master bedroom. He came outside in his robe. She gave him a right there. His back was turned to me. She gave him a. You knocked on the door. I came and opened the door for you. Puff went in the room. You came in the room and kissed that girl dead in her mouth. Now I'm telling that because you taking up for somebody that you know and a lot of more people know didn't do you right.
Gene also pointed out how Usher was probably having a trauma bond with Diddy because of the things Diddy did to him, because Usher had been covering for Diddy. And when you think about it, he's kind of right. Every time Usher has talked about Diddy, he sounds like he's selecting his words carefully, like he doesn't want to accidentally spill something that might get people talking. Let's bring back that Howard Stern interview for a minute. Usher has never actually spoken on the rumors that he was Diddy's boy toy, but court documents from the Lil Rod lawsuit claim he was. In the lawsuit, it said that Mr. Combs informed Mr. Jones that he had engaged in intercourse with rapper, R&B singer, and Stevie J. The redacted rapper and R&B singer were described in the footnotes as a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj and performed at the Super Bowl and had a successful Vegas residency, respectively. It didn't take long for fans to put two and two together and figure out that Meek Mill was the rapper and Usher was the R&B singer. But apart from the fact that Usher has talked about how wild his experience at Puffy Flavor Camp was, Diddy himself once slipped up and mentioned how he and Usher used to sleep in the same bed when Usher was still a child.
He fresh off a goddamn plane. Fresh off the guard stage. That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, damn, pause, but like, check this out. Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my.
Now, he tried to play it off as them fighting over Frosted Flakes, and Kevin Hart tried to deflect from it, but we heard what we heard. So it's weird that Usher tries to cover for Diddy, but it's kind of understandable if you know how traumatizing events play on people's psyche. And it looks like Usher is not the only male artist who Diddy has that effect on, because Meek Mill has also been online online acting like the fool because he was accused of being Diddy's boy toy. As y'all know, Meek Mill was named in the Lil Rod lawsuit as the rapper who Diddy has allegedly had intercourse with. Jaguar Wright talked about Diddy in her recent interview with Storm Monroe, hinting she's sure he's given that behind up many times for the diddler. She even called Meek a power bottom.
Is it
power bottoming? I knew Meek was power bottoming.
Wow.
Well, he already done got the broke in. I just didn't know that that's why he was faking it with Nicki, so that he would have an excuse to be up underneath the diddler.
But this is not the first time Jaguar has talked about Meek Mill being passed around in the industry. In an interview with Real Life Productions, she said Meek Mill might have been used by the Smiths when he went to them for mentorship.
They do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Meek Mills, Bashir Gray, left that house screaming. August the only one that stayed, and I guess he was really sick. He needed the help.
Is anyone surprised that Will and Jada are close friends with Diddy? I mean, if Meek Mill was Diddy's side piece, he definitely could have borrowed him to the Smiths if they wanted some fresh cheeks to spread. There's also the fact that since the lawsuit started dropping on Diddy, old photos and videos of Meek Mill have resurfaced, and fans have a lot of questions. For example, there's this picture of Meek Mill and Diddy wearing matching PJs like they had a sleepover or something. Then there's this viral footage of Diddy calling Meek Mill daddy, like two grown men calling each other daddy is not weird at all. Even more interesting is this footage of Meek Mill singing in a club, and check out how fast Diddy whips his head around when Meek Mill says some lines. Diddy was up there looking like he was having flashbacks or something. Now, Meek Mill has tried very hard to prove he likes women and he's not gay. I mean, he spent 7 days and 7 nights on Twitter trying to convince everyone of how much he liked women. In one tweet, he said, "When I got a girl around me, I'm effing her twice a day, LOL, assle some of your favorites. P don't control me, but it's like a high. One love to the gay people, but that juicy P do it for me. I done ran red lights to get that feeling. Y'all weird on here like devil's LOL." Then he added, "Y'all see these rappers with gay styles, they want that look. Leave that to them. I come from that gangsta-ish surviving in the jungle." He even blamed the media for trying to bring him down and stop his new release from trending. The two things they say, we snitching or we gay. We generating hundreds of millions from music. It's not a coincidence we all gay and snitches. They are powering this stuff even if it's fake. The goal is to disrupt the hip-hop community. I own this music that dropped tomorrow. Play it. But you the one thing he didn't deny, being Diddy's boy toy. Anyway, sources are now saying Justin might have had the trauma bond with Diddy because even after everything, he still publicly talks about how he loves Diddy. Justin even still had time to work with Diddy even after Diddy, despite the fact that he had practically retired from the music scene. Didn't he sell his entire music catalog for $200 million last year? But somehow, he ended up working on Diddy's Love album on a track called Moments. In his post announcing the collaboration, Justin said, "I remember going to my brother Diddy's office to pitch him a song I wrote for him when I was like 14. Sadly, the song was trash, and it would be a hard no from him." Fast forward to a few years ago, Puff asked if I would freestyle something for his upcoming Love album. Wild full circle moment, love you Diddy. Girl, is that weird or what? You wanna know what's even creepier? A video has started circulating online showing Justin at a party with Diddy and The Game giving him drinks. It's unclear what the drinks were exactly, but there have been speculations that it might have been spiked, especially because Justin was allegedly passed around by Diddy and his friends at that party. Child, I can't even begin to imagine what must have been going through his head at that party. Like Usher, Justin also hasn't said anything about his time with Diddy, but he has done a documentary about what life was like for him all those years, and watching it just breaks your heart. However, a source close to Justin says he's willing to confront his relationship with Diddy if it will help the current investigation. Justin doesn't really want to talk publicly about his relationship with Diddy, but he may have to. I'm not sure if Diddy did anything that Justin now thinks crossed the line, but if he does, he's not saying. If Justin has to address his past interactions with Diddy, he will. Jaguar Wright has been talking about how creepy Diddy is for years, but it seems like everyone is now ready to believe her. Fans have left their comments about this whole thing online, and one of them said, "I'm concerned for Justin B. I hope that he can get through this. He was clearly a victim. He does not appear to be as strong as Cassie." Another person said, "Justin and all the victims need to call out Diddy. Justin, we stand behind you. No judgment. You are a victim. Be strong and stand up against Diddy and lead the others to come forward." But now I want to know what y'all think about Jaguar Wright spilling this tea about Diddy and Justin Bieber. Comment down below, and we'll see you in the next video.